Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're going to be diving into Eric Ries's The Lean Startup
Oh, yeah.
to uncover those secrets of building those adaptive organizations.
Mm-hmm.
So get ready, because we're going to be exploring how companies can evolve and innovate faster than ever.
It's like giving your entire company an upgrade, not just reacting to change,
Exactly.
but actually anticipating it.
Yeah, and we've got some incredible real-world examples to unpack here.
Oh, yeah, some good ones.
From IGN Entertainment's use of the 5 Whys technique
Mm-hmm.
to Intuit's complete transformation of their QuickBooks development process.
Big changes.
Yeah, you'll see how these concepts actually play out in practice.
We'll even delve into that intriguing idea of an innovation sandbox.
Oh, yeah.
A safe space for experimentation within a company.
I like that.
Kind of a safe space to play.
Yeah, for sure.
Without blowing things up.
Let's kick things off
Okay.
with IGN and their experience with the 5 Whys technique.
All right.
It seems deceptively simple.
It does, yeah.
You just ask why until you get to the root of the problem.
The root cause.
But as IGN discovered, there's a real art to it.
Well, what's interesting is that
Yeah.
their initial struggles with the 5 Whys stemmed from the lack of a dedicated facilitator.
Oh, interesting.
It's like having a coach who guides the process,
Okay.
making sure that the team asks the right whys strategically and stays focused on uncovering those deeper systemic issues.
Oh, so it's not just about asking why repeatedly.
No.
It's about asking it effectively.
That's the thing.
So what happened when IGN brought in a dedicated 5 Whys master?
Things really changed drastically for them.
Okay.
They tackled this, they had this recurring issue of missing project deadlines.
Mm-hmm.
And by repeatedly asking why, they discovered it wasn't just individual slip-ups,
Right.
but deeper problems like miscommunication between departments and unclear priorities.
So they were just treating the symptoms,
Yeah, they were treating the symptoms, not the disease.
not the actual root cause.
Uh-huh.
I remember they had this persistent issue with website outages every Friday night.
Oh, yeah.
Prime gaming time.
Yeah.
Everyone's trying to get on,
Exactly.
and the website's down.
Yeah. So through the 5 Whys, they found this seemingly simple solution.
Okay.
Developers were pushing code late on Friday without proper testing.
I see.
So the fix, no more production changes on the weekend.
Oh, wow.
Simple.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder,
It really does.
how many complex problems have surprisingly simple solutions?
You said it.
Just hidden beneath the surface.
Yeah.
But did they find
Yeah.
that the 5 Whys helped in any other ways?
Absolutely. It became more than just a problem-solving technique.
Yeah.
It fostered team cohesion and a shared understanding of everyone's work.
Okay, so it really brought the team together.
Brought them all together.
Now let's talk about Intuit's journey towards embracing smaller batches and agile development.
This one's a good one.
Yeah, this is a good story.
Uh-huh.
It's got some real drama.
Yeah, it does.
Highs and lows.
Highs and lows, yeah.
So Intuit,
They
were facing this classic innovator's dilemma.
Okay.
I mean, QuickBooks was a success,
Yeah,
but the market was changing rapidly.
right.
And their annual release cycle with massive updates
Yeah.
just couldn't keep up.
Too slow?
They were stuck in the muscle memory of
Yeah.
waterfall development.
I see.
Those big, long...
It's like trying to steer a giant ship.
Yeah, exactly.
It takes forever to change direction.
Yeah.
And they learned this the hard way
They did.
with the launch of a new online banking feature.
Exactly.
Right.
Despite tons of internal testing,
Yeah.
they didn't get real customer feedback until it was too late.
Using the huge batch approach.
Right. The feature worked,
Okay.
but customers found it much slower.
To reconcile transactions.
Right. And that's a key
Yeah.
part of QuickBooks.
That's how people use it.
So it wasn't just a technical glitch.
No.
It was just a fundamental mismatch
Yeah.
with how customers actually use the product.
Exactly.
And it hit them hard.
It did.
Their Net Promoter Score,
Uh-huh.
which is how they measure customer satisfaction,
Yeah. Customer loyalty.
plummeted.
Uh-huh.
This wasn't a minor dip.
Oh, no.
We're talking a 20-point drop,
Yeah. A 20-point drop.
which was a record low.
For the company. Big time. Shows how even a seemingly minor inconvenience can become a major customer experience issue
Right.
when you're not getting that rapid feedback.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's when it was a big wake-up call.
Yeah, for sure.
Forcing them to really confront this crucial question. How do you disrupt yourself
Right.
before the market does?
That's when Greg Wright stepped in
Yeah.
to lead this QuickBooks transformation. He had this ambitious vision
Oh, yeah. He wanted
of achieving startup speed within this massive company.
Yeah, startup speed.
It sounds almost impossible.
It does.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, he had these 4 key principles, though.
Oh.
Smaller teams, shorter cycles, faster feedback, and empowered decision-making.
But did things change overnight?
I wish.
Right.
No, not quite.
Okay.
So in year 2, Greg really pushed for this mid-year release to kind of cut the development cycle in half.
Yeah.
But the team was still struggling to break free from those old habits.
So even though they were technically working in smaller batches, their underlying processes hadn't caught up.
The mindset hadn't caught up.
Yeah, it's a good reminder that true agility
It really is
about culture.
Yeah.
As much as it is about process.
It's that muscle memory we were talking about.
Yeah.
You can change the playbook, but the team still needs to learn the new plays.
Yeah, for sure.
And it took until year 3
for Greg and his team to really crack the code.
Oh, okay. I'm on the edge of my seat here.
I bet you are.
What was the secret sauce that finally got them to startup speed?
Well, it was this combination of process, technology, and culture.
Oh, okay.
You know, they started the year with what they called Ideas Code Solution Jams.
Oh, wow.
Where they brought engineers, product managers, even customers together.
Oh, wow.
To just brainstorm.
Interesting.
So imagine ditching that rigid roadmap for this burst of collaborative energy.
Yeah, it does sound a lot more dynamic.
Yeah, it was very structured, though.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't just free-flowing brainstorming.
Right.
They had these clear goals, time limits, and facilitated sessions to ensure productive outcomes.
So it's about striking that balance.
You said it.
Between structure and creative freedom.
Exactly.
What about the technology piece of this puzzle?
Well, they made this crucial investment in a virtualization system.
Oh, this allowed them to test new features on real customer data without risking the actual data.
That makes sense.
It's like having a safety net, right?
Yeah.
You can experiment boldly.
That's a game changer.
It is.
It addresses one of the biggest fears companies have when it comes to innovation, which is the fear of breaking things. Right?
And let's not forget the cultural shift, too. Greg and his team.
Yeah.
They had to constantly communicate the why behind these changes.
Yeah.
You know, they addressed skepticism head on and really built buy-in from all levels. It wasn't just about imposing a new way of working. It was about getting everyone on board with this new vision.
So it wasn't a top-down mandate.
No.
It was a collaborative effort
to
change how they worked.
And the results?
Yeah, what happened?
Undeniable.
Okay.
The QuickBooks version that was released that year had significantly higher customer satisfaction.
Oh, wow.
And even sold more units. It proves that even a mature product can achieve a new level of success.
Yeah.
When you embrace the principles of rapid iteration and customer feedback.
It's a perfect illustration of how a company can disrupt itself before the market does.
And it really highlights
a
key principle from the lean startup.
Okay.
The build, measure, learn feedback loop is essential.
It is.
Even for products that have been around for years.
Right.
It's about constantly seeking ways to improve no matter how successful you already are.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued by this innovation sandbox idea.
This is a fun one.
It sounds like this protected space.
Yeah, it is.
Where teams can experiment freely without the risk.
Yeah, it's a brilliant way to address the fear of jeopardizing the core business, right?
Yeah.
Which is a huge roadblock to innovation in companies.
Yeah, it's so true.
It's like having a safe space for controlled explosions, right?
I like that.
Where you can test risky ideas without blowing up the whole building.
Yeah, because let's face it.
Yeah.
In a large company, it often feels safer.
It does.
To just stick with the tried and true.
Yeah.
Even if it means missing out on potentially game-changing innovation.
Exactly.
And that's where this innovation sandbox offers a structured way to mitigate that risk.
Yeah.
It's a designated space with rules and constraints.
Yeah, to protect
both the team and the company. It's about containing the chaos. Not eliminating it.
Not eliminating it, exactly.
So what are some of the rules that govern this sandbox?
All right, so firstly, the scope of each experiment is clearly defined and limited. So it could be testing a new feature, a pricing model, or even a new product, but within a predetermined boundary.
So no taking over the entire company with your radical new idea.
Not yet, at least.
Not yet.
Yeah.
What other guardrails are in place?
Well, time limits are essential.
Okay.
Experiments are time-boxed
Right.
to prevent them from dragging on indefinitely.
Makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Keeps the momentum going.
Yeah.
Ensures that the decisions are made based on data, not endless deliberation.
It forces a sense of urgency and accountability.
It does.
Which can sometimes be lacking in larger organizations.
For sure.
Right.
And speaking of data, the sandbox relies on standardized metrics.
Okay.
So that way you can...
So everyone's speaking the same language?
Speaking the same language. It creates this level playing field for new ideas.
Yeah.
Regardless of who's championing them.
That makes sense.
It fosters this data-driven culture.
Okay. Yeah, I could see how that would promote that.
And perhaps most importantly, there's this clear accountability. The team running the experiment is responsible for monitoring progress, reacting to unexpected outcomes, and making the call to continue or pivot based on the data.
So they're really owning it.
They're owning it.
Yeah, they're not just
start to finish
throwing it over the wall.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's say a company is hesitant to test new pricing models for different customer segments.
Makes sense.
Fearing they might alienate existing customers or cannibalize
that's a common fear.
Their core business. How could the sandbox approach help them overcome this fear?
Well, they could create a sandbox that includes a small percentage of their customer base, representing the specific segments that they're targeting. They could then experiment with various pricing models within that sandbox. Carefully tracking key metrics, like customer acquisition cost, lifetime value, and churn rate. The limited scope minimizes risk, while the standardized metrics provide that clear, objective way to evaluate each model's success.
So it's like this mini simulation that allows you to test different scenarios without jeopardizing,
without blowing up
your entire customer base.
The whole thing.
Yeah, it's a brilliant way to de-risk experimentation.
It really is.
Now, this next idea from the lean startup is a real head-scratcher.
I like this one.
What if entrepreneur was an official job title?
Oh, this is interesting.
Within a company.
Yeah.
It seems to challenge.
It does.
The very structure of how companies are organized.
It raises a fascinating question.
Yeah.
How do you manage the existing business while also nurturing disruptive innovation?
Stuff.
Right. So Rees proposes separating those types of work with specialized teams handing off projects as they move through the various stages.
I see.
It's like a relay race where each team member excels at a different leg of the race.
Okay, yeah.
You might have a team of entrepreneurs focused solely on generating and validating new ideas.
Yeah, so they're the sprinters.
They're the sprinters, exactly.
Yeah. Focused on speed and agility.
Then once an idea is validated, it's handed off to a team that excels at growth and optimization.
Okay.
You know, your middle distance runners.
I like that analogy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that way...
Prevents talented innovators.
Prevents them,
from getting bogged down.
Right. In
operational tasks.
Yeah, exactly.
That can drain their energy.
Right.
And stifle their creativity.
Exactly.
It's a radical departure.
It is.
From that traditional career ladder.
Yeah.
Where everyone's expected to climb the ranks.
Up and up.
Within a single functional area.
Yeah.
Instead, you're creating
multiple pathways for growth.
Yeah.
Each tailored to different skills and passions.
It's like a talent marketplace within the company.
It is.
Individuals can find roles that suit their strengths.
Yeah.
And contribute their talents in a more meaningful way.
And that kind of flexibility is crucial for building those adaptive organizations.
Okay, and then they can...
Yeah, and you can assemble the teams.
Assemble teams based on the specific challenges they face.
Yeah.
Drawing on this diverse range of expertise.
Yeah, it's like having a team of superheroes.
Love that.
Each with their own superpower, ready to tackle whatever challenge comes their way.
And it highlights the importance of recognizing and valuing the diverse skills and talents
within your organization.
Exactly.
It's about harnessing that collective intelligence.
The collective intelligence.
Yeah, your workforce to drive innovation.
To drive it.
Now, I can imagine this entrepreneurship as a job title.
Yeah.
Facing some pushback.
Of course.
Especially from those accustomed to the traditional hierarchy.
Yeah.
What are some of the practical challenges of implementing such a radical change? One challenge would be overcoming the inertia of existing systems and structures.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, sure.
Many companies have these deeply ingrained processes for hiring, promotion, compensation based on that traditional career ladder.
Yeah.
Changing those systems would require a fundamental shift.
Right. So it'd be like rewiring.
It would be.
The entire circuitry of the organization.
Circuitry, yeah.
Yeah.
Not an easy feat.
No, wouldn't be easy.
It would also require clear communication and buy-in from every level.
Yeah.
People need to understand how this new system benefits both them and the company.
So it's not just about imposing change.
No.
It's about co-creating.
It is.
A new future of work.
A new way of working, yeah.
Yeah.
And let's not forget the importance of developing new metrics and evaluation systems.
That's a good point, yeah.
How do you measure the success of an entrepreneur within a company? Right?
Yeah, because traditional
and performance reviews often focus on individual contributions within a function.
Exactly. So you'd have to assess their progress towards validated learning.
Yeah.
And achieving predefined milestones, right?
Yeah.
It's not about individual outputs.
Right.
But the collective impact of their experimentation.
It's about
and the insights that they generate.
Embracing the unknown.
Embracing it.
And being willing to
experiment
and learn.
Learn, yeah.
Even if that means failing.
Even if it means failing.
Risk away.
It requires a mindset shift.
It does.
For both managers and employees.
Yeah.
Everyone needs to be comfortable with the inherent uncertainty and ambiguity.
It's about embracing the messiness of innovation.
It is.
And recognizing that failure is not the opposite of success.
Exactly.
It's part of the journey.
It's part of it.
And that's why building an adaptive culture.
It's so crucial. It's so crucial.
It's not just about
implementing new processes or tools.
Oh, right.
It's about creating an environment where people feel safe to take risks, challenge the status quo, and continuously learn and grow.
So let's say you're a leader.
Okay.
Inspired by this idea of entrepreneurship as a job title.
Yeah.
But you just feel overwhelmed.
Makes sense.
By the prospect of such a radical change.
Yeah.
Where do you even begin?
Well, start small.
Okay.
You don't have to overhaul your entire talent management system overnight.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Identify a specific problem or opportunity that could benefit from this approach.
Okay, so like
maybe you have a team.
Pilot project.
A pilot, yeah.
Kind of a safe space.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
You could create a small cross-functional team of entrepreneurs, give them the autonomy and the resources to explore new ideas, run experiments, validate those ideas with customers. So it's like creating this microcosm of this new way of working.
A microcosm, exactly.
And it's crucial to those
metrics and milestones for success.
Yeah, so that you can track progress and demonstrate the value.
Yeah, success breeds confidence.
Yeah.
And encourages wider adoption.
Right. And don't be afraid to...
And don't be afraid to iterate.
Iterate, yeah.
And adjust the program.
That's the beauty.
Based on what you learn.
Of the lean startup.
Yeah, for sure.
It's about embracing continuous learning.
Right.
And adapting to new information.
So you're not aiming for perfection out of the gate.
Yeah, no.
You're aiming for
progress.
Progress and
continuous improvement.
Continuous improvement.
It's about building organizations that are...
That's agile. And adaptable.
And adaptable as the world around us.
As the world around us.
And ultimately...
It's about unlocking the full potential of every employee to contribute their unique talents to solving the world's most challenging problems.
I love that.
It's a good one.
Now, if you're listening to this and thinking, this all sounds great, but my company is just too big and bureaucratic
I get it.
To ever embrace this.
Yeah.
I challenge you to reconsider.
I do too.
Remember Intuit?
Yeah.
They were a massive established company.
They were.
And they managed to transform.
Oh, yeah, and they did it.
Their entire development process.
They did.
To become more agile and customer focused.
It's not easy.
It's not easy.
But it's definitely possible.
It is possible.
And the rewards can be truly transformative.
Both for the company.
Yeah, both for the company.
And for the individuals involved.
Yeah.
And think about the potential impact on your own career by embracing these principles of the lean startup. And becoming
an entrepreneur.
An entrepreneur.
Within your own company.
Within your company.
You can position yourself as a leader.
A leader.
And a change maker.
And a change maker.
Yeah.
You can be the one that helps your organization adapt and thrive in the face of all this constant change.
And that's a pretty exciting prospect, isn't it?
It is.
It's about taking ownership and driving positive change.
It is.
No matter where you are in the organization.
And recognizing that innovation isn't this magical quality that only a select few possess.
Right. Yeah.
It's a skill that can be learned.
It is.
And cultivated.
Yeah.
With the right tools and mindset.
And speaking of tools, we've talked a lot about the importance of experimentation and validated learning.
Yeah.
But what are some specific techniques?
Well, one of the most powerful is the split test.
Okay.
Also known as A/B testing.
Okay. Yeah.
This involves creating
2 or more versions of a product or feature, and then testing them simultaneously with different groups of customers to see which one performs better.
Okay. Well,
it's like running a controlled experiment.
So, for example, if you're trying to improve the conversion rate on your website's landing page, expert?
Yeah. It takes the guesswork out of it.
Yeah.
It really does.
Okay. Yeah. And the beauty of split testing is you're making these data-driven decisions.
Data-driven, yeah.
You're not just relying on your intuition.
Right.
Or guesswork.
Or your gut.
Exactly.
It's removing the emotion.
Yeah, removing
from decision-making. And allowing you to focus on
what actually works.
What actually works.
Yeah.
It's the scientific approach.
It is.
It's product development.
It really is.
Right. You have a hypothesis.
Yeah.
You design the experiment. You collect data.
You got it.
You draw conclusions.
Based on the evidence.
And
another valuable technique is the minimum viable product, or MVP.
The MVP.
Which we touched on earlier.
We did, yeah.
This involves creating a bare bones version of your product.
Bare bones, yeah.
With just enough features.
Just enough.
To test those key assumptions and get feedback. From early adopters.
Early adopters, exactly.
So it's about getting something out there.
Yeah, getting something out there quickly.
Even
if it's not perfect.
Oh, God. The goal isn't
to create this polished product.
Finished product right away. It's to learn. As quickly as possible. And iterate based on that learning.
Based on what you learn, exactly.
Yeah.
The MVP allows you to validate your assumptions.
Yeah.
Identify potential problems. Early on. And avoid wasting time and resources.
Building something nobody wants.
It's about failing fast. And learning faster. And it allows you to get that product.
Get it in the hands of customers sooner.
Exactly. Which can generate valuable feedback. And buzz.
Early adopters are your allies.
Yeah, for sure.
In this whole innovation process.
They want to see that new.
Yeah, they do.
New thing.
Now, it's important to remember, both split testing and the MVP are just tools. They're not a magic bullet. They need to be used strategically. In conjunction with other lean startup principles.
It's not
just about
running a bunch of tests.
Yeah. You got to be thoughtful and intentional. You
have to have...
You got to have a clear hypothesis. Yeah.
Understand your customer. And be measuring the right metrics.
Yeah. Right. It's not just a matter of
Exactly. It's not just...
throwing stuff at a wall and seeing what sticks.
Yeah. And you got to be willing to pivot. Or persevere based on the data.
Yeah.
Sometimes that data will tell you.
It might.
Your initial assumptions were wrong.
Yeah.
And you need to change course.
And that's okay. In fact, that's a sign that you're learning. Learning and making progress.
You're making progress.
The lean startup methodology.
Lean startup is all about embracing uncertainty.
Yeah.
Learning from failure.
Right.
And iterating towards success. It's about building not only adaptive organizations, but also resilient organizations.
Right. They can weather the storm. They can emerge stronger.
More innovative.
More innovative on the other side.
That's a powerful vision.
It is.
For the future of work, isn't it?
It is. It really is.
It's a future where everyone, from the CEO to the newest employee,
can contribute to building a more innovative
and adaptable world. Well, on that inspiring note, we've reached the end of part 2 of our deep dive into building adaptive organizations.
Building those adaptive organizations. That's right.
it really is amazing to think about what companies can achieve.
Oh, yeah.
When they fully embrace this mindset of continuous learning and adaptation.
It's like they become living organisms, right?
Yeah.
Constantly evolving.
Constantly evolve.
To meet those challenges of a changing environment.
To meet the challenges. And it's not just about survival.
No, it's not.
It's about thriving in the face of change.
It is about thriving.
Right.
Yeah.
So we've talked about specific tools.
We have.
Like split testing and MVPs. But let's zoom out a bit.
What are some of the key principles?
So one of
it underpin the lean startup methodology.
Fundamental principles is this idea of validated learning.
Oh.
It's not enough to just have a great idea.
Right.
You have
to test it.
Test that idea in the real world.
Yeah.
Gather evidence to support it.
So moving beyond assumptions and intuition.
Yeah, moving beyond all that.
And really basing your decisions on that data.
On the data.
And customer feedback.
The customer feedback, yeah.
So you're treating these business ideas like scientific hypotheses.
Like scientific hypotheses.
That need to be
rigorously tested.
Rigorously tested.
Yeah, okay.
And this ties into another key principle, the build, measure, learn feedback loop.
Yeah.
So you start by building a minimum viable product.
Okay.
You measure its performance in the market.
Yeah.
And you learn from that data that you collect.
And then you
use those learnings to iterate.
To iterate and improve.
It's
a continuous cycle.
Continuous cycle of experimentation and refinement.
It's
about embracing the idea that you don't have all the answers up front.
You don't, no.
The best way to learn is by doing.
By doing.
Yeah.
And this leads to another important principle, the willingness to pivot.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes
it's tough.
The data will tell you.
Sometimes it's hard to let go.
Your initial assumptions were wrong, and you need to change course. It can be a tough decision, but it's often the key to success.
It's about having that humility to admit when you're wrong, and the courage to change direction.
Yeah, the courage to change direction.
When necessary.
When it's necessary.
And recognizing that failure is not the end of the road.
Right, it's not.
It's just a detour.
It's a detour, yeah.
It's part of the journey.
It's all part of it.
And it's important to remember that this approach isn't just for startups.
No, not at all.
These principles can be applied
to any organization. Regardless of size or industry.
So whether you're a small startup or a Fortune 500 company.
It doesn't matter.
You can benefit from embracing this mindset.
Of experimentation.
Validated
learning, continuous improvement.
Right.
The benefits go beyond.
And the benefits go beyond.
Yeah, they go beyond.
Just creating innovative products or services.
They do.
This approach can help organizations become more adaptable,
more resilient,
more customer-centric. And even more efficient in their operations.
It's about building organizations that are not only innovative, but sustainable and built to last.
Yeah, built to last, exactly.
And it's about empowering individuals to become more entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
Take ownership of their work.
Yeah, take ownership.
Create a culture where everyone feels empowered.
Yeah, where they can to contribute their ideas and make a difference.
Yeah.
So it's not just about changing processes and structures.
Yeah.
It's about changing mindsets and cultures.
It's about changing the mindset,
It's about fostering
a
spirit of innovation and collaboration.
At all levels.
At all levels of the organization.
Yeah.
And that's why this work is so exciting.
It is exciting.
It's not just about building better products.
It's about building
better organization.
And
ultimately,
a better world. That's a good one.
Well, on that inspiring note,
it is inspiring.
We've reached the end of our deep dive into building adaptive organizations.
Those adaptive organizations.
We've explored Eric Ries's groundbreaking work. In the lean startup.
That's right.
From the power of the 5 whys.
The 5 whys.
To the creation of innovation. Sandboxes. And even that radical idea.
The radical idea.
Of entrepreneurship as a job title.
The job title, yeah.
We've discussed how these principles can help organizations of all sizes.
Become more agile, more innovative.
More resilient in the face
of constant change. That's the world we live in.
Remember,
building an adaptive
organization It's not a destination.
It's a journey.
It's a journey.
It is.
It's a journey of
continuous learning.
Continuous learning, experimentation.
Experimentation, evolution.
And evolution.
It is.
And it's a journey that anyone can embark on.
Anyone.
No matter where they are.
No matter where you are.
In their career.
In your career.
Or what kind of organization they work for.
Or what organization.
So what will your first step be?
Good question.
We encourage you to share your thoughts and insights with us on social media using the hashtag #TheDeepDive.
Hashtag the deep dive.
Until next time, keep learning, keep experimenting, and keep diving deep.